Let's face it, Spam is weird stuff. It might look like a block of mystery meat and taste suspiciously delicious, but it turns out there's a lot that goes into each and every can of Spam. Here's how Spam is really made. Spam is a weird thing, a tin of long-lasting, weirdly textured, inexplicably good meat product. Things like Spam don't just happen. Someone had to intentionally do this. The question is, why and how? Spam has its origins in the late 20s, when Jay Hormel took over his father's meat company. Hormel was always looking for the next big thing, so when he saw a deli selling canned meat carved into slices, he latched onto the idea. The meat was originally formed into 6-pound molds, and customers who wanted some had it sliced at the deli. Hormel figured he could cut out the middleman and sell miniature canned meats directly to people who could then slice it themselves. The idea for Spam was born, though it would take a few years to be perfected, finally debuting in 1937. Hormel decided early on that Spam would primarily consist of pork shoulder, a part of the pig that at the time was rarely used as it was difficult to process. Spam starts looking less like pigs and more like Spam when the meat is sliced from the bone, a process done by hand, and ground into 8,000-pound batches. These days, given the worldwide popularity of Spam, the company needs a lot of piggy shoulders to meet demand, which is why their partners at Quality Pork Processors Inc. slaughter over 20,000 pigs every single day. Most domestic Spam is processed in Nebraska, but Hormel also has overseas plants in South Korea, the Philippines, and Denmark. Spam has an image of being mostly a weird sort of mystery meat, but there's only 6 ingredients: pork with ham, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrite. That's it. Still, you might be wondering why some of those ingredients are in your meat to begin with. The sodium nitrate is there to prevent the growth of bacteria that can cause food poisoning if it's ingested, since no one wants their Spam with a side of botulism. It's also what gives Spam that distinctive pink color, thanks to a chemical reaction that happens between the nitrates and the protein in the meat. And the potato starch helps to hold everything together while preventing the meat from drying out too much in the can. It's actually a recent addition to the recipe, as it was only added in 2009. After the meat is hand-carved from the bone, it's ground up in 8,000-pound batches. A metal detector is used to make sure nothing has gotten into the batch in any part of the process. And then it's transferred to a series of vacuum mixers that are capable of super chilling the batch to freezing. The rest of the ingredients are dumped in, the mixer is sealed to be airtight, and it's mixed. Why the cold in the vacuum? It's to help prevent a huge amount of liquid from being released when the meat is cooked. Once the Spam is all perfectly mixed, it's funneled into the cans, which are vacuum sealed, giving Spam its infamously long shelf life. How long? Hormel says if you store it properly, a can of Spam could last indefinitely. Usually, though, it starts to go off about 5 years after its best-by date. So if you've got some old Spam in your doomsday bunker, you should probably eat it now.
I have the best stocked survival shelter in northeastern Pennsylvania. But everything has a shelf life, so I must eat and then replace everything that's about to expire.
Once the Spam is canned, then it's time to cook it. Yes, it sounds backwards, but Spam is actually cooked inside the can. The cans are sent to a massive hydrostatic cooker, where the cans are cooked, sterilized, washed, and finally cooled. How big is the machine? It can actually process up to 33,000 cans every hour. And they need to make that many cans because despite being a punchline to some, Hormel estimates they sell 3 cans every second, with over 8 billion cans sold since Spam was first introduced. That's way more than just a mere ton of Spam, literally, as it just takes 2,666 cans of Spam to equal 1 ton. There's no signs that interest in Spam is going away anytime soon either, as it shows up in an estimated 1 in 3 American households. But that doesn't hold a candle to some of the biggest Spam consumers in the world. Spam is especially popular in Hawaii and Guam, where the canned meat became a beloved dietary staple when Allied troops introduced it to locals during World War II. Hawaii and Guam both vie for the crown of the most Spam-happy place on Earth. But at last calculation, the crown was officially held by Guam, where the average citizen consumes 16 cans of Spam per year. You can even get it at McDonald's. Everyone's familiar with those distinctive blue and yellow cans, right? Absolutely. And that's what makes it so surprising that there's an extra step that goes into the making of Spam in South Korea. It's often packaged up as part of a gift set. The New York Times looked at South Korea's favorite gifts for the Lunar New Year. It was a list that included things like rare tea, imported wines, fine cuts of beef, and Spam. American soldiers also brought Spam with them to South Korea during the Korean War in the 1950s, which is why Spam is today considered a luxurious delicacy. In fact, it's often given as a sign of respect to important people during the Christmas season. As one saleswoman told the New York Times, "Here, Spam is a classy gift you can give to people you care about during the holiday. Amen."
Oh yeah. Oof. That's the sound of quality.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more MASH videos about your favorite meat products are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.